During the recording of the following podcast, no Democrats, Republicans, actors, chemists, dogs, cats, well, you get the idea, were harmed. However, it has been said some have been offended by the opinions seen and heard here. Oh, and please remember to pull clips out of context.
Sorry. I'm sorry. We thought you were someone else.
Controlling speech, what do we do? This is a tough one because they talk about Joe Rogan and what has happened there. They've a lot of different people. We could really go down a rabbit hole of Alex Jones and what they've done. Whether you like Alex Jones or not is not what's important. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on, right? And I think that it's important for average, everyday people like ourselves to talk about this. I mean, I might be below average actually, but I still live in reality sometimes. Yeah, 50%. First, just a very special thank you to all who have supported me since the beginning of the journey of just shining a light on difficult things, on hard answers. Thank you so much for doing that. This is for you. I'm Matt Logan, the host of This Matters in Real Life. Oh, hey, stay tuned at the end of this. I'll give you some more information. And so this speech thing is very interesting because this has hit home to me. I had some stuff pulled off recently. I had some stuff fact check, and if you go down the rabbit hole of the fact check, guess who actually said what I said they said? Was Mark Twain. Actually said what, according to their own fact checkers on Mark Twain, said Mark Twain didn't say it. You go 8 to 10 websites deep in their fact check, and who do they say said it? Mark Twain himself. So it's so here's what that does though, and then I'll let you introduce yourselves. What that does is it sets it up for saying that I am putting false information out there, and I don't have I can't say anything about that. And they don't care if you fact check their fact check. They still don't take it off. Any of those things that happen. So what that does is that means they are starting to control what we say. Clearly, if you follow me, I don't fight with people. I put different things out there from all different walks of life, all different political views. I might have my own personal opinions and views, but when that happens, that's alarming to me. Today, once again, on this bright, sunny,
so nice,
snowy, snowing a little bit, day is the one and only
Craig Ugland.
Infamous?
Most likely.
It depends upon who you ask.
Yeah.
And also hanging out today again is...
It's another day to hang out with Naomi Saylor. I wear the same shirt all the time.
I do too.
Yeah.
I have my own swag, so.
But you actually do wear the same shirts every day. Different.
Most of the time they're clean, but some days, no. So we're going to talk about Joe Rogan on this. We're going to talk about how Meta has lost a bunch of money because I think the intersection here is that people are realizing that what social media is doing is bunk, right? It's a bunch of garbage. People are sick of it. I'm sick of it. Joe Rogan bent the knee a little bit on this. I'm a little disappointed in. Whether he said the things that he said or not is not relevant. He was definitely taken out of context on a lot of it. The misinformation bit that they talk about is, that's also garbage. Because information is information, and we should be able to hear it and then make the decision, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Give us the information so we can decide for ourselves.
Metaverse. I want to start down that path. Naomi, what do you think of that?
The name change is weird for me, but I don't know. I think it's a tool that maybe our society has gotten used to. And I think we've talked about this a little bit before, how a lot of people just have to have that to communicate with each other. It's probably a good tool to advance businesses, get your name out there, You know, me growing up with the newspaper or hearing that newspaper.
What's a newspaper?
I know, right? Paper? What? So, you know, it's what's in society to use to communicate. But tools can also be used wrong. But I also ask who makes the decision on what's wrong or right on an online platform. Who are the people that decide how they're used or what, you know, the terms and conditions that people agree to, the huge paragraphs over, you know, everyone just scrolls down to the end and clicks to agree. Well, maybe we shouldn't be agreeing so quickly.
Yeah.
And read a little more fine print, perhaps, but.
Or do your thing and get pulled off, and who cares?
Exactly. I mean, that's totally how I believed. It's just free speech is free speech, and maybe some people that work for that company need to read up on what that actually means and become educated themselves on free speech.
You know, it's interesting. We talked about this probably a year ago, and at that time it was kind of the crossroads because the social media platforms have to take one of two paths, and it's either you allow all speech or you correct all speech. But they have that middle road. They're letting one side tend to say whatever the heck they want, and they're not being fact-checked, and it's obvious that they're not telling the truth. But then the other side, they seem to be over fact-checking, like what happened with you. Wow, this guy's got a red flag, so we're going to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and this doesn't look right, it doesn't sound right, so we're just going to say it's not right. But they're not truly doing their research. Or they did, they just not believing their own research.
Yeah.
But you're a bad man, so.
Well, it makes people think that to me, it's a somewhat of a mental, psychological operation that it's making people apprehensive to speaking freely what they really believe in. And like you said, both sides or both any point of view. And some of these pages that are allowed to still be public or online aren't being taken down, but ones that, from my perspective, that are good and hopefully wholesome are being silenced.
Scrutinized for sure.
And even look at the Canadian trucker thing that's going on right now. Yes, it's actually legitimately happening.
Right.
Yes, it's extremely peaceful. And they're being very authoritarian, which is not a big surprise from Canada.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're doing whatever they can. They shut down the Give, Send, Go,
yes.
I think, just yesterday.
They did, yeah.
So I heard that I think they call it their Supreme Court or they have different terminology.
Whatever,
Court
right, yeah.
Had decided to not allow the funds or something, but Give, Send, Go's response was, as of right now, that they said, well, that don't make no difference. They don't have jurisdiction over our company in the U.S., so it's all fine. It's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Whether or not that ends up rolling out that way, hopefully another country won't strong arm them. We pray that doesn't become an issue. But, I mean, they're just staying strong.
That's really good because it's super important. And that actually has that stone that they threw in the water, that ripple effect will go around the world.
Sure.
And it is.
It's coming down here next month.
Yeah. So the point of it is like it doesn't end. Once you allow it to start, then it doesn't end.
Right.
Now, peaceful people, they allowed all these funds for, I mean, how many 60, 70 million BLM got in no time? And
a lot of it's missing.
And exactly. They don't know where it went. They don't know, what was her name that was a co-founder of it? I can't think of it now, but she bought like 5 houses, $5 or $6 million there. All these things are happening. They're like, nothing to see here.
Right.
Something that happens peacefully when it's a legitimate, they're not even saying with this thing, I should be real clear on it too. They're not saying that they don't want the vaccine or they're anti-vaccine, which is what a lot of people in media has put it as. They're protesting mandates.
Right.
Like they even have a system in place that they're supposed to vote
Right.
and they're supposed to do these things the proper way.
Yeah.
So it's an anti-mandate. It's not an anti-vax. It's not any of that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, let's get back to what we're supposed to be doing
Right.
here as a government. And so that's what I see with this kind of stuff too, is that when that little thing, who decides what is good and what is not good is what's dangerous.
If you look at DHS.gov or the Department of Homeland Security, they posted something on February 7th, about 2:00. And they updated something like people who are doing stuff in person or online. Mostly, I think they're trying to say online. If you have an opposing view of government, or if you're trying to cause some people to get the wrong information online, they're kind of considering you a threat to their institutions. You know, and so I follow government websites. I read what their language is so that I'm not, because you shouldn't be caught off guard.
Right.
Right. And some people maybe want to speak freely, but they don't really know, can you back what you're saying out loud? Right. So yes, say things that you believe in, but understand that, you know, you have to also, you should maybe, this is of course my opinion, speak with wisdom, you know? So free speech is a wonderful, beautiful thing in our country. And it's unfortunately been very minimized, and it's become a lost art. Even in people, it turned into maybe afraid. People are afraid to say what they think because what they see happen on social media with the keyboard warriors that are typing away, but these same people won't say that face to face with a person.
Right.
Right.
And what did they do with COVID? And I'm not anti-establishment.
Yeah.
I am definitely pro-Constitution establishment in things that we should be at and what we should be working towards as a country. But what, with that said, is cut out there's a saying, cut out a person's tongue, it doesn't make them a liar. You know, it just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when they start cutting people's tongues out, so to speak, that creates division.
Right.
And that's coming from the top.
And who's in charge? That's the original question you had.
And right, and that's coming from the top. And what did the top do?
Yeah.
They kept us from seeing each other. We couldn't do it in person. It's never been a bigger divide because of the last 2 years than it ever has been.
Right.
Should people fight online? Absolutely not. Should we ask questions of each other? For sure.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's what life is supposed to be about. Coming from a place of understanding, you can say what you want to say, and I can listen to understand. I can ask you questions to clarify, things like that. And we're just not doing that anymore. So.
And freedom of speech is so important that it's the First Amendment. I mean, that's, the Founding Fathers knew what they were doing. And the Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment. And it's, the response to that is, well, freedom of speech doesn't mean there's no freedom of consequence. And I completely understand that. But they're cutting off that freedom of speech to even allow yourself to have the consequences.
Right.
And Joe Rogan, I mean, that's been the cool part about him. And I am not a follower. I get sound bites from here and there and stuff and clips. But he just has the attitude of, I don't care what I'm saying because this is how I feel on stuff. But I want to hear your side, and I want to talk about it and have open conversations without consequence.
Well, our society perhaps has been too, too lawyered up, too ready to sue somebody for saying the wrong thing. And there has
too dang sensitive.
There has to be legal ramifications for probably more things than we know. But why live that life of, I'm going to catch you saying something, and hopefully I'm not guilty of that too, right? To be able to sue you, because that's just, I mean, is that a pursuit of a lot of people's life with this? It's kind of crazy.
I think there are some people that they're looking for that. They're looking for that soundbite to cash in on.
Yeah.
Or to cancel. It goes back to the dang cancel culture. And
It does.
I mean, obviously, they're trying to cancel Joe Rogan because they don't believe in what he is saying or what the people on his show are saying.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing that is concerning to me. We talked about sports and stuff a couple podcasts ago. That used to be a common place that people would get together.
Yes.
Common ground. And what do you do at those sports games, whether it be a high school or whatever, generally you get to be friendly with people that you didn't know. And then you start to start to listen to their opinions and all those things. And now they do this, it creates echo chambers with what they're doing, and it creates tribes with what they're doing.
You're right.
It creates, what does that create? It creates war.
Segregation.
Yes. Which all of it leads to war eventually.
Right.
And I don't mean necessarily like a guns blazing war.
No.
But certainly a culture war. Certainly things that we're going to have to win. We don't care what you think or your lifestyle or whatever. We have to win.
Right.
And it becomes kind of that mentality. And how do you come back from it? Well, you don't come back from it by cutting people's tongues out.
No.
They're just going to become a much stronger warrior when you do that.
It becomes, for lack of a better term, a mafia style living in our everyday life, where somebody is calling the shots and telling the group what to go do to ruin someone else's lifestyle, ransacking their way of life just because they have to win, like you said.
Yeah.
And who's pulling those? Who's that boss? Who's the person pulling the strings, or a group of people pulling those strings?
And I've been around a lot of people over this last year just by way of just the crisis at hand. People say to me that they just don't know where to turn. They kind of felt like their voice was silenced at work. Their voices were silenced online. It's so funny because it's like if you post daily or something, they're like, I'm just not getting likes, or, and am I being shadow banned? It's like, why are we even talking like this? Well, this is so weird, but it's a reality for a lot of people. And I'm finding that, there's even people that are trying to inhibit just opportunities I'm allowing for people. I'm trying to just be nice, but but we have opportunities for people to come hang out and just figure it out, talk about stuff. What are we going to do? Where do we go from here? Right. And it's become a family. It's become a family of not necessarily like-minded, but a family of like, oh, finally someone like understands that I'm frustrated because I'm not getting this from some of my relatives, or no one understands me. Well, somebody out there is, and you'll find them and it'll be great. But there has been people who hate the fact that me and my family have opened our arms to help people just be able to figure out life, and they try to come in and interrupt it, and it causing some, jealousy or whatever. And it's like,
you nailed it. It's jealousy. It really is. I did a lot of things, especially last summer and through the pandemic in itself. And, frankly, just to get people, Craig knows firsthand I went to great lengths to do that.
Sure.
And people just complained. All they did was complain. Complain.
If you don't like it, don't participate.
Yeah.
But let me do what I want to do.
Right.
I'm not hurting you.
Maybe everybody's so used to being told what to do, and I love corporate America. Just kidding.
I'm like,
do you like that?
Where's this going? Because this could be really fun.
No, let's say instead of that sentence, I'm thankful for what we have in our country. We are really blessed.
Yes.
We have access to so much so that when you complain because you can't get your certain flavor of this or your certain clothing or whatever, then you're like, whoops, I'm spoiled, right? That's why I'm saying I love that we have such amazing access to products. I have friends that have lived in other countries and they will wait 40 days, 60 days for just one small pack of spaghetti noodles,
like
for instance. Like,
yeah.
Right. So, that's what I'm saying. And it's like, for people to complain and be jealous and cause, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going on a bunny trail. Maybe you guys remind me where we were going with this, but
it's
what I mean?
about, right. It's about, what do we do I think it seems, here's the thing again, it's back to that, and let's just use the word tribal mentality.
Sure.
Everybody's tribe wants to win. And so when you control a tribe, guess what that tribe does? All it does is it talks within itself,
sure,
which creates that echo chamber. And what does that echo chamber do? When I first started this particular podcast, that was the motto: escape the echo chamber.
Yep.
And that was and so I invited, including yourself, dozens and dozens of people.
100 times, right? 100 times you invited me? No,
not. I don't chase people. I mean,
joking.
I'll ask nicely, but I don't chase. So, but with that said, I've invited literally dozens and dozens and dozens of people.
Sure.
And not many people accept, which is the law of averages, right? And that's okay. But what I get criticized the most for is that, well, you say you're trying to escape the echo chamber, but all you have are these guests or these people or whatever. And I'm like, come on the show.
That's right.
Defend your side.
So why are you saying no?
Why? What are you hiding?
If you should be different, then come prove me right or wrong.
And I've seen these conversations from the people that won't
Yes.
come on the show on social media. Well, he's just going to preach.
Yeah, some of it's been public.
And I'm like,
yeah.
But you don't know because you haven't accepted his invite. Like, swallow your pride.
Right.
Come prepared. Get your battle axe. Let's go. Let's have a conversation.
Have they watched the whole show or just maybe,
Oh, I know of a gentleman that's gone through episodes looking for sound bites.
Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. And there's plenty, and I've had that over the years, and it's fine. There's a lot to be critical of myself, and that's okay. I don't mind that. But what the ultimate point is when you create that tribe, then that one tribe wants to take over.
Sure.
Right? And so what I would say in the United States of America, that tribe should be the Constitution.
Yes.
And the Constitution shouldn't be added to and taken away from unless it's done the proper way.
Right.
So when you create those things, everybody goes to their own side. But what happens then when you're on your own side and you can't go to a sports game and be together, it's all those things. It creates that fight,
right?
And everybody wants to fight and ultimately win,
right? And when you take away those opportunities of social involvement or activities or events, it instantly shuts down that free speech because you're just not around people to mingle and talk about anything good, bad, or ugly,
And it's not a religious thing. It's not a race thing. It's not an atheist thing. It's not a Christian thing. No. It's not a Muslim thing. It's not any Democrat thing or Republican thing or Libertarian thing. It's none of that.
No.
And that's what they don't understand is that those commonalities are so important.
Right.
And so we as people need to say no more.
That's right.
I'm not going to let you bait me into this fight. That's my opinion.
Do you think at the hospital during any kind of like crisis situation that, all the doctors or nurses just went and sat in a corner and just ignored the patient? No, they went to the patient and they critically thought, right, from their experience, from their training, and they asked opinions probably even sometimes.
Of each other.
Sure. How maybe real quick, maybe it's real swift, but I always just think they even have to talk amongst maybe even different, people that think differently or believe differently, and they put
they
all
do
that
all the time.
aside.
Better.
They better.
They do it
They
all the
should.
time at Mayo.
Right? I mean, that's just it. And you would think that if some of these institutions can figure this out, well, we should be able to figure it out too.
I agree 100%. It is unfortunate, though, some of those institutions are becoming a single mind instead of or a collective mind, I suppose you would call it, rather than individual responsibility and reflection on what is happening and what's your experience, what's my experience, what's her experience, all those things. That's concerning.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like another podcast topic,
totally.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Because there was there was some local and some far away medical, I'm trying to say this properly, but the people that worked in medical facilities that said their free speech comments, through the last 2 years online, and some of them perhaps got fired or reprimanded or suspended, or maybe they just didn't. Maybe they just got to say all their stuff, but maybe someone with maybe my thought process got quieted. Yeah. But not others.
And that's the thing with the metaverse and the transformation of what that is that personally concerns me.
Yeah.
Is it creates a little bit more control.
Sure.
I don't know. We should wrap this up. Craig, wrap it up.
Thanks for having us. It's been a fun conversation. We already got subjects for next week, so we got a lot of subjects for next week.
For sure. Hammer the like button, hammer the share button. Make sure that you leave us a comment and give us 18 stars. See you next week. Tomorrow. Something.
Next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this conversation that I just had. I was very honored to be a part of it, honored to be the host of This Matters in Real Life. I think it's extremely important to cover a lot of different things and topics and get people's opinions. When my daughter died in the car crash 10 years ago, I said that's what I would do. I would look at the answers, I would look at the truth, and I would make sure that they would intersect. They would not divorce each other. It's so often that we want answers that are not the truth. We want answers that are comfortable. We want answers that make us feel good. Well, there's a lot of things in life that it's not the case. So who am I? Well, I am you. I'm no different than you are. I eat and sleep and, all the different things. Same thing that you do. I hurt. I feel joy. I've had a lot of experience, probably just like you. I work hard, probably just like you. One of the things that you can do to support us is go to shinybrandmerch.com, where you'll see things like the sweatshirt that I have on. I'm a full-time, a truck driver. What do I deliver? Well, I deliver trucks. It's a little bit different of a gig than a normal truck driver, yes, but I am what would be considered a commercial vehicle transport specialist. So about 5 to 6 days a week, I deliver trucks. I get into a truck, I go 2,000 miles, I deliver it to its new owner, I get on an airplane and I go find another one. Nothing real glamorous unless you make it that way. And I've decided that I would have a lot of conversations along the way, and some of those conversations I'll be able to share with you. Again, hey, thanks for your support. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time.